The Gold Club was a presentation in itself. The club was so beautiful. I was amazed by the whole thing. That was the greatest time in Atlanta for the strip club industry as a whole. You're always seeing John Stockton, Reggie Miller, Jermaine Dupri, Little John, Keanu Reeves, Madonna, Michael Jordan. I dated Dennis Rodman for a little bit. There was congressmen, there were senators. We had the King of Sweden in there one night. Anybody who was anybody came to the Gold Club.
Federal law enforcement officials call this nightclub a criminal enterprise.
We got shut down. It was just insane, the amount of charges that we were facing. I was looking at over 100 years in prison. My name is Jacklyn Diva Cook, and I worked at the world-famous Gold Club until it got raided by the feds in the 1990s. What brought me to Atlanta? I went down to visit my fiance, but before I left, my girlfriend and I were talking. There's this book back then called The Entertainment Guide, and the Gold Club was always on the front cover every freaking month. We would hear these stories about girls that would go down and get a job there, and they were making so much money, and it was glamorous, and I was already a topless dancer. Learning of the Gold Club and already in it, you're thinking, see, this could better my life. I just was like, I want to do that. Atlanta, at the time that I moved down at the end of '96, the strip club industry was literally second to Coca-Cola. Massive. I don't care where you went, there's a strip club. Most of them were trying to compete with us, but they couldn't, but they were fun. You have your black strip clubs, your white strip clubs, and you have us. We're a mixed group of women. You had every nationality, every color, every height, boobs, no boobs, anything that a guy wanted, we had. We always had at least 200 girls on the floor every night. It was a combination of Vegas meets Studio 54 because you have all the celebrities. You have senators, congresspeople, actors, musicians, NFL players, baseball players. Anybody who was anybody came to the Gold Club because that was the thing to do. The Gold Club was based on privacy, and it was based on customer service, like the epitome of what customer service is. You have a gentleman at the front door that opens your car door, walks you in, and then you meet another floor man. He takes you to seat you, and you're just catered to all night. And we had plenty of waitresses on the floor, so there was never a dry glass in the building. We wore evening gowns. Our hair was done, makeup was done. It was very glamorous. The Gold Club was total glam. In Milwaukee, we had to have pasties on. In Georgia, it's fully nude and they're serving drinks. Makes for a very interesting evening. We had Vegas-style shows throughout the night. We had roll call when we all put on tuxedo jackets, bow ties, our black thong, and we all marched down the steps so that all the men in the place could see how many women we have. We did skits. We had a YMCA, we had Animal, where I put a chain around a girl's neck and drag her through the club, and we'd do a lesbian show on the stage, and we really didn't get tipped a lot on stage because as soon as you come off, there's a gentleman calling for you. So that was just like your arena to show off. Working in the club, your main goal is to make it upstairs to the VIP rooms. I wanted upstairs. I wanted the big dollars. I just watched. I paid attention how the women worked the room to go up to gold rooms. And when I finally got my first gold room and got a taste of it, I didn't look back. When it came to being in a nude club with bottle service, that was me, Champagne Diva. If you ask me what I'm gonna drink, you're buying me a bottle. I would act like I'm giving the champagne bottle a blowjob and pull it out of my mouth and pop the cork off of it, and it was lodged right there in my teeth, and I'd spit it out. And the guys were like, oh my God, get another bottle. I want to see her do that again. I sold a lot of champagne. That time in my life was just, it was pure insanity. The way I traveled, shopped, personally, didn't have to come out of my pocket for a thing. Guys just liked to spoil me, and I lived for it. I was like, yes. I had a guy, I had no idea this was gonna be the best night I've ever had. He came in town, he was an oil tycoon from Texas, and he used to come and see me every 3 months. He had his crew with him. We were all in Gold Room 7. He dropped 50 grand on me that night for my 30th birthday, and I got spoiled that night. That was the most money I ever made. He spent about $100,000 that night because he tipped the waitress $20,000. He got every champagne glass in the building, and he was passing out champagne to the entire building. I don't know, he just was in a good mood. Guys would spend a lot of money in there. In my first year working at the Gold Club, I made $186,000. That was a lot of money for me. I didn't think I'd ever see that type of money in my lifetime. My highest amount that I made working at the Gold Club was my third year there. I made $373,000 that year. The year before, I came close. I was about $350,000. During my course of working at the Gold Club, I became the #1 dancer in the US because Steve put me on that pedestal. Steve Kaplan, the owner of the Gold Club, he took me upstairs, he got in the DJ booth, and he got on the microphone, he shut the music off, and he announced to the entire club that Diva is untouchable. She can come and go when she pleases. She can fire you, she can hire, she can do whatever she wants. Leave Diva alone. That's my girl. My ego was just like, ha ha, I made it, bitches. I worked at the Gold Club from 1997 through 2001 when we got closed, when we got shut down. The reason that the feds were interested in the Gold Club, it stemmed back from the train station service in Atlanta. They were trying to expand their property and they wanted to buy Steve out and he turned them down. And then next thing you know, we're being watched. We knew they were coming, we just didn't know when. The club had a very eerie feeling in it. You just knew the bottom was about to drop out. The night that we got raided, all night I felt on edge and something said, go home. I had forgotten my phones that night, they were at home. So I got dressed, I get in my car, and just as I'm pulling to the edge of the parking lot, I see in my rearview mirror men in all black with these large guns, gas masks on, and I'm thinking, oh my God, the club's getting robbed. Not realizing it's the feds. So when I get home, of course, my phones are blowing up. Steve's calling, he's like, they're coming for you. They came to my house 2 days later. It was pretty scary to have that many feds at your home. It's frightening. I truly believe they used me as a pawn to get to Steve because I was one of the closest people to him. He's the owner, and now he's faced with a RICO act, and they're grabbing whoever they can that's closest to him to try and get him to break, and you put all these trumped up charges on us for nothing. They came at us with conspiracy to commit racketeering, money laundering, extortion, harboring a fugitive, murder, defrauding Delta Airlines, defrauding Visa, defrauding American Express. They've superseded our indictment 3 times. It was just insane the amount of charges that we were facing. I was looking at over 100 years in prison. Frightening for somebody from a small town. The court case went on for about 4 months. Steve was paying everybody's lawyer fees. He was covering the cost of everything for us. There were 17 of us that were indicted, and he paid all of their lawyer fees. And he decided enough is enough. I'm over this, I'm tired. We were all tired. The every day, 8 hours a day listening to garbage was just too much. So he said, we're gonna take a plea. You guys are all gonna walk unscathed. I'm gonna do 13 months in prison. I'm paying a $5 million restitution, and everything's done. And that's exactly what he did. He had had enough. We all did. It was taxing, and it was hard being away from my children. It was really hard. Since Steve made that sacrifice for us, I don't have a blemish on my record. I can pass any background check. I can pass a federal background check because there's nothing there anymore. My net worth with everything that I had was $1.2 million. That's a lot of money. I worked hard for that. 14-hour days. To lose it all, tough pill to swallow. The worst part for me, though, were my kids' college funds. That, to me, was a slap in the face. You could take everything else, but I wish that would have stayed. Losing everything that I worked really hard for to go back to just a normal life, it was difficult at first. I struggled with it. And people would ask me all the time, like, how do you go from jet setting and taking vacations, going to Vegas all the time? How do you go from that to not? And not having the means to do it the way you did. You just have to adjust your life. It is what it is. You can't get it back right then, so You just change how you do things. It's been a great ride. I can't complain. I've lived the life that most people only dream of, let alone getting out there to be able to do it. So I'm grateful for that experience. There will never be another Gold Club ever in existence. It just won't happen. The way things are now with social media, with the internet, and especially with camera phones, there's no privacy. And the level that the Gold Club was on, no, you're never gonna find that again. It'll never happen.